following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
You want the truth? Okay, then listen in. My first lick was
This is the Listen In Podcast with your hosts, John Cimino and Brandon Gorell, here on the Gear Radio Network.
It is episode 100. 100, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right, 100. We hit 100. No, last one was 99. I messed up that one.
I would have thought that we would prepare for this.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Well, you know what? We did episode... We're doing episode 100 the same way we did episode 1, which is just winging the hell out of it, I think. Right, Flavor Flav?
yeah, boy.
My name is John Cimino at DJC Money on Twitter, joined, of course, by the traveling man, Mr. Brandon Gorell. Say hello.
Emo, the only action.
Hey,
Hey, hi, there we go. 100 episodes. He's
traveling.
Yes, he's traveling. And as always, thank you very much to all of you listeners, not just throughout the past 100 episodes here, but the 145 episodes of BLTD and the 100 episodes of the JC Money Show. And you get the picture. We've done a lot of podcasts, and it would not be possible without your support, your continued support through our affiliate sponsors, whether it is shopgear.com, which is the redirect link to Amazon, if I can talk here, or gearnetwork.com/donate, where you can donate via PayPal in any denomination. That's pretty cool too. Or simply listening to podcasts from start to finish, including the commercials. That does some good too. So yeah.
Do the Amazon though, man. I
Yes,
do it all the time.
Yes, do the Amazon, please. That does us good quicker.
Do records.
On today's show, we are gonna just kind of freestyle it a bit here, just like we did in episode 1. We're gonna freestyle it a bit. We're gonna talk about week 1. Brandon went to Seattle recently and took up a Seahawks game. Was unable to find XFL Seattle Dragons in merchandise.
And I was in town too. Like I was at like some of the towny shops that had like sports things and whatnot, and I found Seattle Supersonics. I found the Seattle,
which thank you for that shirt,
Sounders. I think it is their
the Sounders is their WNBA
their
team,
ML.
isn't it?
No,
no.
Yeah,
that's the Storm. Is there? I think
maybe I don't remember what it is, but whoever their MLS team is super popular. Like
okay.
They
so popular that we have no idea what they're.
No, they are popular because I was talking to some guy in that area, and actually he was telling me that they use the Seahawks Stadium to play their MLS games at, but they have to block off like the top half of the stadium not because they can't sell the seats, because they can sell the seats. It's because it's unfair to the rest of the league because their stadiums are so much smaller.
Oh, wow.
They still have a higher attendance rate than the rest of the teams
The Seattle
do.
Sounders, you were
right. Yeah, it was the Sounders. Their MLS team is very popular right now in Seattle. Like, you walk around town, it's Seahawks gear, and you see a lot of Sounders gear.
Really?
Yeah,
like,
they're very...
more or less popular than the Mariners there.
I saw more Sounders stuff than Mariners stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's...
Mariners are not playing good. They haven't been good for a long time.
Right.
And it's right next to Safeco. I walked by Safeco. I actually parked in Safeco's garage to get to the Seahawks game because they're like directly across from each other. And actually, when we were on the boat tour, we can see warm-ups happening because we can see into Safeco Field, and they actually had the video screen had that on there, even though there was no game there. The Mariners were on the road. But I parked in the Safeco garage right across the way. But it's really big there. I mean, Macklemore just actually bought a stake in the this MLS soccer team.
Really?
Because it's really taken off in that city. They're really passionate about their sports in Seattle. Like it's a big deal.
Well, I've always wanted to visit Seattle, especially with, being the supersonic tie there. But I've always liked what I've read about the city, the pictures that I've seen in the city and everything like that. I just really enjoy Seattle. Seattle's kind of like very much like Calgary is for me in Canada. One of those cities that, they're passionate about their sports that they have too and everything like that. And it's just a city that I want to visit just for the sake of visiting, I think.
The stadium was really nice. It's one of the better stadiums that I've been in.
Is it?
The design of it is really sharp. There's a lot of screens in there, but they're not overbearing and like tacky like AT&T Stadium in Dallas is. It's really nice. The architecture of it's real cool. It's kind of like an eagle, like an arrow almost, and it's got like this like spear of like seats that go into like at the one end of the stadium, and they got the 12 platform up there, and the band comes and plays, and it's really loud, even for a meaningless preseason game where Russell Wilson was calling all the plays and no starters saw the field for either team. It was Geno Smith versus Nate Pete until Geno Smith got hurt.
Oh boy!
And then they were going Paxton Lynch, and it was.
That's where Paxton Lynch wound up?
Yeah, he was like third stringer.
Oh, man.
But
way to go, Elway.
It was interesting, like, to be there, and it was pouring. Oh. We were on a boat tour, and it was gorgeous when we stepped on it. We had lunch. It was sunny, about 80 degrees outside, comfortable.
Okay.
And we're sitting at this restaurant, like, right on the water. And we're looking out on the water. We're right near Pike's Place. And we're looking out on the water. It's gorgeous. And we had a boat tour scheduled where you get to go tour all the lakes. And you go through the lake, and then they actually get to a spot where there's the lake lower.
Okay.
And they actually, like, get you to this dock. They drain all the water out, and your boat just goes down to that level. And then you take off, and then the barge goes back up, and then the water stays where it is. So you actually see the water you were just on above your head.
Wow.
While you're on this big boat. It's like a 2-tiered boat. We're outside on it and stuff. And we get out there, and we're a little further out, and we are able to see Mount Rainier, which actually the ladies that was doing the tour said it's only visible 90 days of the year. Mm-hmm. And we got to see it clear as day.
Cool.
It was beautiful. It's like an optical illusion almost. It looks like a hologram.
Okay.
It looks like it's floating on clouds because the clouds wrap around it. There's a cloud above it, but then there's like a cloud ring around the bottom of it, and you can't see, the ground where it is. It just looks like it's floating over the water.
Okay.
So we go to it, and all of a sudden it starts to cloud up, and the wind picks up, and then it just starts pouring. And we're like, what the hell? So they had to route the tour to get in a little better waters, and so we had to kind of speed things up. We got in, and we're kind of like, crap. We bought tickets for this game, and it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. Now we're kind of regretting it because we're getting poured on. And we get in the stadium, and we bought tickets in the 300s. Everything in the 300s is completely covered. We are dry as a bone up there. And you can see on the field, it's pouring onto the field and the lower ends. And we were up in the high ends, just sitting here eating our pretzel, drinking, watching the game, and not a drop. You couldn't even tell it was raining. It was comfortable. There was a guy in a row in front of us that was just so angry the whole game. He just kept screaming at the Raiders. Kept calling everyone a piece of shit. You piece of shit! And his face gets all red. And then he sits down. He's like, the Raiders are a fucking joke. John Gruden, you have bitch tits. And I was like, oh my god, dude. Whole game.
I thought
in a preseason game.
I expected it at Buffalo. When I went to the Buffalo preseason game, I would hear that crap, and I'm like, not all stadiums can. We can't have that type of stuff and everything.
It is.
Wow.
There was actually Melissa and I were going to in between quarters. Actually, it was halftime. We went into the concession areas, and we were going to check and see if we can find anything cool in the pro shops or whatever, and just kind of get up and stretch our legs because we were sitting the whole boat tour. We were sitting on our flight, and we were sitting for lunch, and we're like, we're going to get up and walk a little bit. So we did, and of course, there's Raider fan fighting with Seahawks fan, and you know what? Listen, there's a lot of stereotypes out there.
You mean that's real too?
You think there's a lot of stereotypes out there about Raiders fans, and let me just tell you, they're all true. There is cholo gangsters walking around with tattoos all over their heads and faces.
You were telling me about that. I said, I didn't see anywhere.
Yeah, you just
now
saw
ESPN.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy it for one second.
NBC and CBS as well.
Yeah, I know. I don't buy the allegations, though. Well, I think it's a little suspect, the timing.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But
it's Raider fan getting back at... believe me, being amongst the Raider fans, the unwashed Raider fan, I might add, they got their jerseys on, and they're quadruple XL. They're down to their knees. They got their chino pants on. They got tattoos on their face and their head, and they've got the freak face paint, and they all are little cholo gangsters, man. I'm not even kidding. This is their fan base, and they were there, Not all of them, but a lot of them to start shit.
Wow.
And this whole thing does not surprise me one iota.
That's insane. I thought I only read
because
I thought I only read
it's
about
magically that none of these things happened 4 days ago. But now that he decided to go with the Patriots and leave the Raiders, and how salty Raider fan is, I mean, there was FU AB chants during the Monday night telecast that you can hear audibly that
Really?
ESPN kept having to block out.
Wow.
Because they were not, they were FUing AB all night.
That's hilarious.
So I wouldn't be surprised if these
last...
3 allegations came out are completely nonsensical.
Do you think those fans, those loud and proud fans that were in Oakland, follow them to Las Vegas?
Yeah.
I don't know how long the distance is between Oakland and Las Vegas.
It's not that far.
It's not that far?
No, I'd say it's about a 4.5, maybe 5 hour car ride.
Well, let's ask Siri here. Siri, what's the...
I didn't catch that.
Wow.
All right.
Technical difficulties.
What's the distance between Oakland, California and Las Vegas, Nevada?
Las Vegas is about 557 miles from Oakland by car, or about 410 miles as the crow flies.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
It's not
about
very
400
far.
miles.
Yeah, not very far.
It's not even that. Like, a lot of these people still live, like outskirts of Oakland. So, honestly, it's like 300 miles. They're going to travel. I mean, every NFL fan travels anyways. I think Raider fans will travel.
All right, that's fair.
It's in their blood.
All right.
What are they going to do with all that black and silver that they roll around with?
Yeah,
so it's his former trainer that it's accusing him
His
of...
former trainer, huh? All right.
Accusing him of sexual assault.
Of course. There it is. Play that card. All right. Well, you know what? Since the last podcast, Brandon, a shocking retirement.
Yeah.
And it would be... it would not be us if we didn't talk about at least this, because I do think that even though, despite the fact that Andrew Luck did not play for a very long period of time, he filled the shoes that Peyton Manning left in Indianapolis quite well, I feel.
Yeah.
In 86 games, he had a career percentage of 60.8%. And threw for 23,671 yards, 171 touchdowns, the 83 interceptions, marred by injuries, and basically, it boiled down to the fact that he was just in pain. He was in pain, and he didn't
want to do it anymore.
When he said flat out, "I'm not able to live the life that I want to live," in order to do that, to get to that point, I have to cut football out of my life. It's one of those things, and you saw the Colts fans.
It sounds like you Sunday.
That was me Sunday?
I just don't have it for this game anymore. I don't
okay.
feel any passion for football.
Well, all right. So, here's the thing. Well, with that game,
John Semino Luck.
With that game, I've seen that particular Jets game hundreds of times, and in every single one of those instances, they never win that game.
Right.
It's was
like
more of
someone
the same.
that you really love and trust. It's like Superman. Like, you're Lois Lane, and Superman rolls in and, like, picks you up and starts flying you around the town. You're like, oh, this is so wonderful. And then he drops you, and then you're free falling, and you land on the pavement, and you're like, thanks, Superman. And he's like, oh, I'll be back around. I'll pick up and scrape off your dirt, and we'll kiss those boo-boos, and then you'll be back for week 2. And then you will show up week 2, and you're like, I'm flying high with Superman again. And down goes John, like an anvil.
I'm fully expecting week 2 to be much worse. I think Cleveland's too good of a team, regardless of Odell Beckham and his $25,000 watch.
That's so stupid. Let the players be players, man.
That he wants to wear.
I hate
or whatever.
the corporatizing of the NFL. I think it's so stupid. Oh, you guys got to wear suits on the road, and you have to show up to press conference in nice attire and all this garbage, and you can't wear personal cleats unless it's for a designated day, and it has to be approved still by the league. Like, you can't just wear any cleats. They got to be some charity, some cause. Like, it's such bananas. I'm just so tired of the NFL and this bullshit.
Well, you know what? And I think
their image. It's like, you know what? Your image is garbage.
I think that's the part of it for me. I don't know. I genuinely have not been excited about the NFL this season, and it's really weird for me. And it started on Thursday Night Football. I know you were excited because it was the Packers and the Bears, but it was a freaking snooze fest. And I just was like, I'm not.
It was a defensive game.
You
had two really good defenses.
Yeah.
Green Bay, Chicago was the number one defense in football last year.
Yes.
And they got younger and faster.
And Green Bay much improved.
Green Bay's much improved, but you're talking about a Green Bay team that had 0 snaps from their starters during the entire preseason, a brand new offensive coordinator, a brand new head coach, totally new system, going out against the number one defense. I did not expect much from the offense that night, but we had the flashes. And when Aaron Rodgers needed to be Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers was 18 of 30, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, with a QB rating of 91.4. His opposition, Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, who was under siege all night.
26 of 45.
Yeah.
That boy was throwing.
Right.
228 yards, 1 interception, 62.1%. QBR.
The reason he was throwing is because they could not get their run game going.
No.
Because Green Bay was tough up front.
They had a combined team rushing total.
Yeah.
Chicago did of 46 yards.
Yeah, but how many attempts?
Mike Davis, five carries, 19 yards.
Yeah, but how many attempts though?
How many attempts?
For the team.
15.
Right. 15 attempts for 46 yards, that's 3 yards. Less than 3 yards a carry, because it was 43 yards, right?
Well, Cordero Patterson had the stat of the game here. 1 carry, minus 2 yards.
Right.
So,
Green Bay was tough up front, and they put a lot of pressure on Trubisky, too. Like, they really bullied that line, and that line is a good line.
It is.
Like, they had, I think they were saying last year they had a total of, 12 holding penalties for the entire year. They ended up having 7 against Green Bay.
Jesus.
Because they were just coming in waves all night, and you didn't know where they're coming from. Mike Pettin is a good defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's gotten the speed. The Smiths were the best signings that we've had in free agency in a long, long time. Those guys were after it all night long. Like Trubisky, every time he looked up, he had a different Smith in his face, or sometimes both of them.
Preston and Za'Darius.
Yep. Preston and Za'Darius are beasts.
I feel like we covered those signings.
They're young.
In the offseason.
Yeah.
The interception, Adrian Amos.
Yeah. Who was the former Bear.
Former Bear.
They let him go because they couldn't afford him.
And, here's an interesting stat that I long for now. Green Bay's kicking.
Yeah.
1 of 1, 100%.
Yeah. Dude, our punter was like the MVP. That kid was
400
booting.
J.K. Scott, 428 yards, 5 punts inside of the 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. We needed a punter. We have not had a punter in a while either. We drafted a kid.
All right.
And he came up big.
Very good. Very good.
All 3 facets we're working on. The offense wasn't great, but when they needed to be, they came up.
Brandon, let's talk about. Let's move from that and talk about the running back. One of the most polarizing running backs of the draft last year, Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah.
This running back was he was only 17 of 20 for 324 yards and 5 touchdowns in a routing of the Miami Dolphins, whom nobody really expected the Miami Dolphins to do anything this year. And if you did, you were kidding yourself. 59-10, Brandon. You're laughing very hard. Not hardly. You're laughing very hard. What is this here? Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh, here come the Antonio Brown, John Gruden memes.
Uh-huh.
For those that weren't aware, we kind of made a small mention of it. Antonio Brown is now being sued for sexual assault or something. We'll have more
from his
on that.
former trainer.
We'll have more on that.
And someone photoshopped a girl doing squats with John Gruden's face on it.
There we go. You're in your division. Moving back to your division, Brandon, the Vikings winners over the Falcons 28-12.
Yeah, you know who didn't look good there?
Who did not look good?
Kirk Cousins.
He threw only 10 times.
Yeah.
10 times.
He's not a good quarterback.
He said flat out, the last time I threw 10 times was Pop Warner. So I believe the Vikings, they play
ran
the
a
Packers?
lot. Yeah, they play the Packers in Green Bay this week.
You worried about it at all?
I'm not.
No?
I like our defense.
Mm-hmm.
I like us at home. That seemed to be like the only place we could play decent last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling that our offense is going to start to kind of get, their legs under them. Get the running game going. Rodgers will be a lot better, a lot sharper. I think they were riding a high.
All right.
Every one of them afterwards was saying the same thing. We have a defense.
The Jets blew a 16-point lead. 16-0 lead.
Only rivaled by the 17-point lead blown by the Washington Redskins.
Oh, yes. The 17-point lead the Washington Redskins had. They lost
and then a 20-3
to the Philadelphia
lead.
Eagles in the Ginger Generals return. Carson Wentz.
Yeah, he was money.
32-27 there. Incidentally,
You think he likes having Deshaun Jackson there?
oh, yeah, you think Deshaun Jackson likes being back there now?
No kidding.
You know what I mean? Future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
No big deal. 40-26, Chiefs win. Now, Brandon, here's the game that I really wanted to talk about.
Jaguars that was a rough game for them.
Yeah, they lost
Losing Nick
Foles.
Foles on the second drive of the game as he's throwing a touchdown.
Yep.
Something that Jaguar fans have been longing for is seeing a quarterback throw a touchdown on their team.
And he did that.
And then he gets hurt.
And he's out for the next 3 weeks, I think.
It might be longer than that.
Is it longer?
It's a broken clavicle.
Oh, it's a broken clavicle.
Yeah.
I thought I heard 3 weeks, but maybe it was just...
No, I think Tyreek Hill is the 3 weeks one because he had the same kind of injury.
Could be.
But it's a wide receiver as opposed to a quarterback. It's just like Rodgers. Remember, Rodgers broke his left clavicle too.
Brandon, we know that the New England Patriots have long been trying to get over the hump.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
they've been having, they have this 6th-round pick quarterback that they just, for some reason, they still like. And,
they've kept him around. He's got nudies on Bob Kraft.
They've
which doesn't sound very
they've had
hard to have.
They've had issues with wide receiver. They recently just picked up Antonio Brown, but he was unable to play against his former team, the Steelers.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel that this is the year that the Patriots are finally going to get over the hump. They did a good job of that, defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football, 33-3. Tom Brady, their 6th-round quarterback.
But they lost their soon-to-be Hall of Fame tight end, though.
Rob Gronkowski's gone.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They lost him.
Yeah.
This is going to be tough to overcome.
It's going to be terrible. So, I don't know, man. They got through.
Dude,
I think the Steelers kind of struggled a little bit.
Tom Brady on Sunday night looked better than, 80% of the quarterbacks. And he's 42 fucking years old.
I don't understand. I don't understand him.
I'm also getting annoyed with people saying that he's a system quarterback. If you see the throws he makes, he's not a system quarterback. He works within the system, but guess what? He makes that system Super Bowl worthy. You may be a good team. You may win some games without Tom Brady, but you aren't winning Super Bowls without Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady is what gets him over the hump.
Yeah.
That dude is a fucking killer. He went out to the Steelers and he embarrassed them. The Steelers defense looked like an AAF team.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad.
Yes.
It was bad. He was just hitting guys that were just wide open and in stride without any effort. They barely touched him all night. If you watch that game hoping that you were going to start seeing some demise in the Patriots, you walked away just with your head slumped like Charlie Brown and just
yeah.
Here it comes. It's Bohica. Bend over, here it comes again. Because they're probably, if they stay healthy, I don't see how anybody beats this team.
I agree.
Even without Antonio Brown, I still think that they are a legit, easy lock for a Super Bowl.
What I don't understand though,
Josh Gordon looked incredible.
How still so long after Belichick, was hired and Brady was that kind of pudgy kid that was, drafted in the 6th round and all that stuff. I just don't understand how, because the NFL has an even playing field.
Yeah.
And yet the Patriots,
they get guys to take pay cuts. They buy into team. If you don't buy in the team, you're gone. You know who's buying in the team? This was a great story that kind of got overlooked because there was so much hype around the fact that Gronkowski's gone. They just signed Antonio Brown. But Jamie Collins is back with the team. Do you remember Jamie Collins?
I do not.
Jamie Collins was killing it for the New England Patriots a few years ago.
Okay.
And he came up time for a new contract. And he wanted to get paid. So Bill Belichick, in the middle of the season, shipped him to the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, him!
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's back.
Okay.
And he took less money to come and win. And he's like, I buy in
Yep.
to the Patriot way. That's Tom Brady makes way less than a lot of the other quarterbacks in this league. Yet he's got 6 rings. He's been to the Super Bowl 9 fucking times.
Yeah.
He took less money because it's about team in New England. And that's why they keep winning, because they get guys who buy in. And if you don't buy in, they get rid of you, and they bring in somebody who will.
I wish I don't want to say I wish that the majority or all of the NFL would be like that, because then it would be lame. Like, really lame. It'd be very vanilla across the board. But, goddamn, I wish the Jets would at least pick somebody up to do that. Not Miami's freaking leftovers. Like, Miami didn't want Gase. They fired him.
The thing of it is, and here's the thing, and when people say, oh, it's a system, well, the system's been there for 2 decades. Nobody's figured it out yet.
Right.
It's not a system. He's got the right talent. Yes, the system helps, but you need the right pieces in there.
Right.
And he seems to get the right... This defense looks like the best defense he's ever had.
The offensive line he has looks like it's the best offensive line he's ever had.
But the defense looks incredibly strong.
Yes.
And they get Collins back. They get Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett's now rushing the passer, playing a big role on their defense.
Right.
They've still got the secondary that they had with Stephon Gilmore. And it just, Malcolm Butler wanted to get paid, wanted to be a me guy. They sat his ass down in the Super Bowl, still won without him. And then he went and signed a big contract with Tennessee. And he's not the same as he was in New England. It just, these guys, they're cutthroat. They're there to do one thing, and it's to win.
Well,
that's what they want to do.
Well, I'll tell you this. Right now, I am.
It's discouraged for Rest of fans.
Oh,
I understand it.
Being a fan of a
You're
team
in the same division. It's harder.
It's terrible.
Like, I'm in Green Bay, and the only time I'm ever going to see them in a situation is once every 4 years, a game against them, and maybe in the Super Bowl.
Maybe.
If we're lucky enough to be there against them, so be it. Mm-hmm. But I don't have to worry about, my team's never going to make the playoffs unless they get a wild card because the Patriots are in front of me.
There's absolutely no way that the Patriots don't run the table on, at the very least, the entire AFC East. Buffalo's not beating them. Jets aren't beating them. The Dolphins... The Patriots can rest their starters against the Dolphins.
The Dolphins could play against the practice squad Patriots and probably still lose. They looked pathetic on Sunday.
And there's a bunch of people that want to be taken off the...
They want off the team.
They want off the team.
They're like, I don't want to be here if we're going to tank.
Poor Tom Ernest of Dolphins Talk is just like... I'm done.
It's tough, man.
Tua's going to stay in school.
It's tough, too, especially...
He's not going there.
It's really tough, and it's got to be really frustrating when you're a fan of a team that continues to be bad, but yet has the same tools that the good teams have.
Yep.
You just don't get the right talent, and then you don't retain the right talent.
For the New York Jets, speaking for the New York Jets, we can get the right talent because it's a desirable market.
Right.
The problem is ownership is inept, and it has been since the Hess family sold it to the Johnson family.
Yeah.
They've been inept. It's awful. Once the transaction from the Hess family to the Johnson family happened, and Bill Belichick wrote, "I resign as HC of NYJ" on that napkin because he didn't want to be a part of the new ownership.
It's not been a total failure. I mean, you guys did go to an AFC Championship game.
Yes.
You had some decent years in there. But you haven't gotten all the way over the hump, and it's become more of a show.
It winds up being the same old shit.
Yeah.
So that's really what it boils down to. But anyways, speaking of things that it boil down to, it is time for the wonderful infomercial. Quick little break here. And since we're talking about the NFL, Brandon, on shopgear.com, if you have an extra $43.99 in your pocket, you can get from Two Door Games the NFL Electric Football Game. Remember that bad boy?
I do.
Yes.
When your guys would just vibrate across the board.
That's right. They got it on sale. Let you call the place to march your football action figures down the vibrating gridiron. The world's favorite football game on the big stage of the National Football League, and it is the original two-door game, NFL Electric Football Game. I mean, that's the old school one. Amazon's got it. Shopgear.com. what did I say here? Stupid honey ad popping up here. $43.99, and it is delivered for free in 2 days or less.
You want me to talk about a great Amazon product I got off there?
Go for it.
I bought, for my son, and I mentioned it during, I don't know if it was during the podcast or it was after we wrapped.
I think it might have been after.
So I was scrolling through it. So long story short, I've been looking for bubble top hockey because it was my all-time favorite game as a kid. I love rod hockey, but there's so many poor imitations out there, like the tabletop one. You get the little knobs with your fingers, and they're, it's just not the same as having that big playing surface and having those players out there and whacking that puck around the rink and having it bang around the boards and stuff. And I had my eye on one on Walmart that was ESPN, and it was okay looking, and it had the bubble on it, an electronic scoreboard, and it made some weird noises, but it wasn't the ejector puck, and I was like, I'll hold off until it goes a little lower, and I held too long, and it sold out. So I started browsing around, and I found on Amazon a product made by Man Cave Games. I got the 45-inch playing surface, which is actually 5 inches bigger than a standard bubble top hockey game. Mm-hmm. It comes with all the players, 2 pucks, really easy to put together, and it's got even little plexiglass walls that go around the corner, around the rink. So if stuff though goes, it takes a lot to go out of play. And it's got scoreboards in the corner. They're electronic scores, and there's like a sensor in each goal. When the puck goes through, the score goes on the thing. I got it for $265, free shipping from Amazon.
Amazing. It's amazing.
It is. My son was looking at Super Checks, and Super Checks cost $2,100 for the bubble top hockey. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it might be a little better, but this thing gets the job done. My son and I play it all the time. Like every morning before the bus now.
Has he beat
we
you
wait
yet?
In the garage. No, he hasn't. He's tried. He's had some games where it's gone, because it goes up to 10 before it starts flashing game over.
Okay.
He's gotten to some games where he's lost by 2 goals.
Oh.
10-8.
I'm telling you what, you better record that. You better have the camera up, because once he starts inching closer, and he
but he's regressed, because like this morning I played against 2 games against him. I beat him 10-1 and 10-2. So he didn't do so well this morning.
Sean, you're not listening to this podcast, but I'll let you win. When I'll play you. I'll let you win.
You know what? He doesn't care though. Like, he just likes to play.
All right.
And he always talks shit before we play too. He's always I'm going to beat you today, and I'm like, all right,
at that game, so he'll beat me. I
love it. I've gotten to the point where I'm like slapping one-timers now. Like, I've got 2 rods, and I'm like, sometimes I'm start really beating on him. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna play one-handed now. But I'll get like the forward over there, and I'll make the pass to my center and one-time it and right in the goal. And he's like, how'd you do that? I'm
very
like,
good.
I'll teach you.
You want to get the pick'ems up here?
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, we'll do that. We'll load that up. You listen to Ryan Wolf talk about BLTD for a couple of seconds, and then we'll be back on the other side.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Ryan Wolf.
Hey, Mr. Perez.
From the Better Live Than Dead podcast. You can catch the Better Live Than Dead podcast on the Gear Radio Network, BetterLiveThanDead.com, and wherever you get your podcasts.
That's right.
With that being said, hey, we talk about sports, we talk about music, we talk about entertainment.
I make things really awkward sometimes.
That sounds about right.
Uh-huh.
With that being said, though, as you always know, we are Better Live Than Dead.
You're not.
We'll catch you sometime very soon.
All right, we are back on the Listen In podcast, our 100th episode. John Semino, Brandon Garrell here with you. Nice to have you along on our podcast Wednesday here, because I'm releasing this on Wednesday after the JC Money Show. So you should have listened to that first before you came here, or whatever. Listen to that. Listen to whatever. Listen to everything. But right now, this segment here is going to be dedicated to the Gear Network Pick Them, the Listen In edition this year, and that is brought to you courtesy of our Facebook page, facebook.com/listeninpodcast. Like, listen, share, enjoy. There is still time to join our football pick'em, so you can pick along with us. Very easy to do. You go there, onto the Listen In podcast page, click the link that's on there, it's pinned to the top of the page. The password is XR4TI, making a little homage to Jim Rome there, but we do this every year where we pick the week in the NFL and compare them, and then have the rights to say that we're the champion every week in our worst Shannon Sharp impersonation. But this year, I'd like to take a little bit of a different spin on it, because last year we had a bunch of people sign up and then they dropped out or whatever. The rules this year, those that do not pick or they drop off, they are subject to 30 seconds of ridicule.
Yep.
From Brandon and I on the podcast.
Mostly me.
I think that's fair.
I think it's totally fair.
I mean,
it's not that much time in your life.
No.
You can hit an auto pick even if you wanted to.
Right, exactly. So be warned.
You get emails to remind you.
I'm gonna go in here now, and I'm gonna actually see who is on here.
2019. I mean, everybody's got an email on their phone.
All right. So far we have. I believe it's Zach from the analyst board. I think he's on there.
Zach Dean.
Yes.
Fuck that guy.
He's on there. We got Pat G from the Turnbuckle Talk Radio podcast. We have Sleazy Mike from the Wrestling Show with Sleazy and the Fat Man, and we have you. So far, Pat G, Sleazy, and Zach, you guys don't pick. You get 30 seconds of ridicule from myself and Brandon.
You know what? Zach's going to get more than 30 seconds
he'll get
ridicule
more?
from me.
Okay, fair enough.
Absolutely. He won't even listen to this podcast either.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'll tag him. I don't care. All right. So Brandon and I, typically what we do every week is we'll go through the week two. We'll go through the week two games. I'll throw out the list of the games, matchups, I should say. We'll figure out who if we pick the same. If we did not pick the same, we'll talk about that. So, are you ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was actually looking back at the roster, so let me get back to the picks. Okay.
Oh, okay. Picks for week two. It starts with Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting the Carolina Panthers, both 0-1. Brandon, who you got?
I got the Panthers mainly because they're at home.
Okay. I do as well, so we'll move on. The Bills and the Giants. Brandon, I took the Bills.
I took the Bills at their home away from home.
I figured
Giants Stadium.
I figured that
MetLife Stadium, sorry.
Yes, MetLife Stadium now. I figure the Giants, they're fielding a very similar team to the Jets at this point. I think and Eli Manning on his downslide is equivalent to a Sam Darnold right now.
I don't think he's equivalent to Sam Darnold. I think he's a little better still.
Yeah, probably.
He made some throws during that game. They're very depleted. They have no wide receivers.
Right.
They got a pretty beat up line.
But I will tell you
defense isn't very strong.
If it gets out of hand,
Saquon.
If it gets out of hand, look out, America. Daniel Jones. That's right. 49ers Bengals.
I got the Niners.
Okay.
In a close one. The Bengals really came close to beating Seattle last week.
Is AJ Green's not going to be playing?
No, he isn't, but they still played pretty well without him.
All right, that's fair.
They lost by a point.
Cowboys Redskins.
I got the Cowboys. Redskins are a mess. Chargers.
Vikings Packers. We can skip that.
Of course, the Packers.
Colts Titans.
I got the Titans.
I took them as well.
That one I flip-flopped back and forth because the Colts found their game in the second half last game, and Marlon Mack, who I stupidly took out of my lineup for Kenyon Drake, had 175 yards rushing against a pretty good LA Charger defense.
For the sake of being different, I'm going to switch my pick.
I switched back and forth on those a lot, but the Titans at home, I was like, eh.
Well, who are you comfortable taking?
I'm just Titans because they're at home.
All right, so then I'll switch to the Colts then and do that just for the difference there. Game of the week, Brandon. Patriots Dolphins. I have the
Patriots got a bye that week, didn't they? Oh, it's the Dolphins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Patriots.
I picked the Dolphins. I did not. The Cardinals and the Ravens.
I got the Ravens.
You got the Ravens.
Cardinals looked good the second half.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Kyler Murray kind of adjusted.
Okay, very good. He is...
that tie felt more like a win because they were getting blown out of the building in the first half.
Here, you know what? Here's an interesting point that I saw, and I would agree with it. Spazman Simmons, former pro wrestler, should be in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame for Rochester Wrestling Hall of Fame, but that's a different story for a different podcast. But he put out there, quite frankly, there should be no ties.
How the fuck is Shane McMahon still wrestling?
I have no idea.
It's in the background.
Yeah, he's wrestling and Luke Harper's at home. That pisses me off. But that's another subject for another podcast.
Face all red and beat up.
But ties in professional sports, there should be none. I don't think, and especially in football, I don't think there should be a tie. I don't think it should.
I think that overtime should be longer.
They shortened it recently.
Yeah, they shortened it. So I think it should be longer because if you're going to go with this rule where the first field goal doesn't win the game, and the other team goes and drives and takes a field goal, if they get that second field goal, you're almost assured of a tie because by the time those two teams have driven in place to get a field goal, what happens is they end up like leaving 0 time on the clock for a retort.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really like the rule of it. Like, I like the field goal can't win it.
Right.
But I don't like how they shortened the time on it. Because it's setting it up for ties. That's how we've had more ties than ever. Like, we've hardly ever.
I don't like the idea of the tie. I don't like the fact that overtime that the NFL just for some reason cannot, I don't know, mirror college or mirror.
I
what
really
the
wish
did.
they would go with the college.
You know what I mean? Maybe it's because college is doing it and they don't want to. They want to be the.
I think
one
that it should be a little. It should be like college, but it should be harder. Like first possession starts from the 25.
Okay.
Next possession starts from 35. Next possession, if you're still tied, goes to the 45. And then you just keep moving back until someone doesn't score a touchdown. And you can't allow field goals.
Right.
It has to be touchdowns. You have to get it on touchdowns.
Right.
Because I don't want to see a field goal kicking contest where you start at the 50 and a guy gains 7 yards and then all of a sudden he's in position for a field goal. And then he gets the field goal. And then the other guy gets, another 7 yards and it's field goal, and then we got to back it up again. I think that it should be for touchdowns only, no field goals, and then it should back out each time by 10 yards. Start off 25, go to 35, go to 45, and, opposing 45, until like somebody can't score a touchdown.
Right.
I think that's fair because I also don't like the way. So like, look how the Green Bay and Arizona game ended. That NFC wildcard game.
Right.
Amazing game. Aaron Rodgers throws a freaking Hail Mary to get them to tie, to go to overtime, and then they never see the ball again because the other team scored a touchdown. Same thing happened with Green Bay against Seattle. Mm-hmm. Seattle had that miracle comeback because of a missed onside kick recovery that could have salted away and sent Green Bay to the Super Bowl. And then Wilson pulls out his magic books of tricks and prayers to God, and he gets them up by 3, but then Rodgers, with a torn calf muscle, drives him down the field, get the tying field goal to go overtime, and then he never saw the ball again. Like, I don't like that a team cannot get the ball.
Right.
I think that everyone, and same thing happened with Mahomes last year. They went to overtime against the Patriots. Patriots scored. And Mahomes never got to touch the ball in overtime.
Exactly.
So they still got it wrong. Like, it's better because the field goal can't win it.
Yes,
but at the same time,
but that particular rule has been around for years.
Right, now. And then so if it ends on a touchdown, the other team doesn't get to do it. Like, they don't get to possess the ball.
Right.
And that's the worst part. And so it's like, I don't know. They have to do something. And I think that they need to modify these rules. They're doing all these other stupid changes, like you can't lower the head of your crown of your helmet. We're going to make you wear new helmets, and you can review pass interference, but only this year. And it's all just nonsense. And then something that really needs to be fixed, which is the overtime rule. Mm-hmm. They have not.
No, they haven't done it, and they continue to look a blind.
College has it right. I would much rather watch a college overtime game.
I would expect to see the overtime rule readdressed after Roger Goodell steps down, possibly by 2022, like he said he was going to.
Oh, God.
Anyways, moving on here, and to finish us off here, Seahawks, Steelers. I took the Steelers.
I took the Seahawks.
Okay. I figured it the west to east travel.
I don't think so.
I don't
think
that was my factor.
If Tom Brady is standing stationary and can just pick them apart, what do you think Russell Wilson mobile's going to do?
Yeah.
That's why I picked Seattle.
All right, that's fair.
They got a better defense, too.
Texans, Jaguars?
I got the Texans.
Okay.
Texans should have won that game.
Yeah.
It just took a miracle from Breeze and his kicker.
Chiefs, Raiders.
Can I go back to that game real quick?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Texans, Deshaun Watson is the real deal, man. That dude's a killer. He's got good receivers, but he hits those guys. He doesn't just just throw it up for prayers. I mean, he was hitting guys right on the money. And they get Kelvin QT back soon too.
Kiki
QT. I don't know. He went by Kelvin at one point. But now he's Kiki. It's like Enrique Hernandez for the fucking Dodgers. He's Kiki Hernandez too.
Yeah.
But Watson's got a good core. It's too bad that they lost their running back.
Yes.
But
indeed.
they've got Carlos Hyde, who was very efficient the other night.
Yes.
So I would look out for the Texans, especially with Andrew Luck leaving.
Exactly.
And now that, what's his face? Foles
Nick
injured his
Foles is
shoulder.
down, with a shoulder.
And Jaguars look like a mess.
It is the Texans' division to lose, and I said that
I think so.
After Andrew Luck retired.
Watson's the real deal.
Chiefs, Raiders, I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, though.
No, it probably will not be a blowout.
I watched the Raiders last night, and they look like they play hard.
I caught,
and they're fast.
I caught the highlights.
And Carr looked solid. Carr looked on point. Carr looked like he did when he was in the discussion for MVP that year.
Well, he's got a chip on his shoulder now, especially.
Yeah.
So.
I think that Gruden is using that, and I think he's going to use it. I think it'll be a close game, but I still think the Chiefs. But then again, they don't have Hill either. So,
they don't.
But Sammy Watkins.
But you know what? Future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's the real deal. He's my God forbid the Jets.
I just think though, like. Sammy Watkins looked really good too the other day.
Yes, he did. He looked very good.
Like he had jump. He looked like he was fast again.
Yes.
He's going to have to step up in a big way with Tyreek Hill out.
Yes. It's
going to be a tough game, I think, especially in Oakland.
All right.
On that
Bears,
infield. Broncos. Oh, I got the Bears.
All right.
Bears will recover. Broncos didn't look that great.
No, Broncos didn't look that great at all. Joe Flacco's not elite. I'm sorry.
No.
NFC Championship rematch, Brandon. Saints.
I got the Rams at home.
I have them too because I think, but I only
it's at home.
I only have that. Well, yes, it's at home.
Breeze doesn't play as well on the road.
He doesn't play as well on the road, but also I think that the whole saltiness that the New Orleans Saints fan base and the team themselves have had over this AF or the NFC thing.
Yeah. They're going to come out to try to like slaughter, and they're
going to come out,
get off their game.
Exactly. It's exactly what I think is going to happen.
I think so too. And I thought because it was at home mostly.
Yeah. No, the home factor that's very much it's very valid, but I just feel that they're going to get in their own heads. Eagles, Falcons.
I got the Eagles. Falcons look like a mess.
And Browns, Jets in a game that, Brandon, by this point, the way that both teams were talking, both should have been 1-0 and dominated their games.
Yeah.
They did not have that. What do you see Monday Night Football?
I got the Browns 27-17.
I took the Jets.
Jets get an extra point.
I took the Jets, but it's going to depend solely on the kicker because whether anybody wants to admit it or not, the difference between a Jets win and a Jets loss was a tie even.
Yeah,
was one extra point and a missed field goal.
I think it's because of that they're going to lose. I think the reason the Browns lost is because they were hyped as being like Super Bowl contenders and they're like the darlings of the NFL world. And I think that they felt that they were just going to come out and it was going to be easy. And I think that they got their wake-up call.
Yeah, they got punched right in the mouth.
Punched right in the mouth at home and booed by their home fans. And now they're a joke. I think that their pride's going to kick in, and I think that they're going to come back, and I kind of feel bad for the Jets.
Well, if there's a team that they can do it against, it's the Jets.
It's a team to get healthy against.
Although, I will say this, the defense was, yes, indeed. Wow, now here come the Antonio Brown memes. the defense was an entirely different defense when C.J. Mosley was on the field. The Jets' 3 free agent acquisitions looked magnificent, but once C.J. Mosley came off the field, it sucked the wind out of the sails of the Jets' defense, and that's when the Bills pounced on them. So they need to play for all 4 quarters. If the Jets' defense can play for all 4 quarters, they might, they might have a shot to pull this out. If the Jets win, it'll be close. If the Browns win, it'll be because it'll be a blowout. That's my take on it. But I've got the Jets going with that, and I'm going to call the end of the podcast because it's time. And we're getting all these Antonio Brown memes and all that stuff, too. And I'm getting tired. But anyways, thank you again, all of you, throughout the course of the past 5 years now that we've done this podcast. All 100 episodes, you guys have been great, and we invite you again, not only to like our Facebook page and share it as well, facebook.com/listenin, but join us on our Pick'em quest and see if you can avoid being roasted by Brandon and myself in future weeks. Who's getting roasted next week? Maybe your friend Zach.
Let's hope.
Or
I'm going to roast him anyways.
There we go. Very good. Very good. But let's do this again next week, Brandon, after week 2, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you as well.
So long, everybody. Good night now. Flavor Flav, you know what to do.
Yeah, boy!
Whoa. Before
Screenshot of it, so it's harder to read.
Before we go, a statement from Antonio Brown's lawyer. Brandon has up. Brandon, take the helm.
It says, Antonio Brown learned today he has been named in a lawsuit filed in federal court in the Southern District of Florida. Mr. Brown denies each and every allegation in the lawsuit. He will pursue all legal remedies, not only to clear his name, but also protect the other professional athletes against false accusations. Mr. Brown was approached by his accuser in 2017, shortly after Mr. Brown signed a contract making him the highest paid receiver in the NFL. At the time, Mr. Brown was asked to invest $1.6 million in the accuser's business project. Mr. Brown was not informed by his accuser that she had just been levied with a $30,000 IRS tax lien, or that $300,000 of the $1.6 million for the so-called investment, end quotes, was to be used to purchase property already owned by the accuser and her mother. When Mr. Brown refused to make the $1.6 million investment, the accuser supposedly cut off communications with Mr. Brown. However, in 2018, the accuser resurfaced and offered to travel to Pennsylvania and South Florida to train Mr. Brown for the upcoming season. Thereafter, the accuser engaged Mr. Brown in consensual personal relationship. Any sexual interaction with Mr. Brown was entirely consensual. The accuser not only traveled to Mr. Brown's residence on multiple occasions, she traveled from Tennessee to Florida and returned at 2 a.m. to Mr. Brown's residence 10 days after the alleged assault. The accuser continued communications with Mr. Brown throughout 2018 and even asked Mr. Brown for tickets to a Pittsburgh Steelers football game in the winter of 2018. Mr. Brown's accuser has continually posted photographs of Mr. Brown on her social media in an effort to financially benefit from his celebrity. Mr. Brown, whose hard work and dedication to his craft has allowed him to rise to the top of his profession, refuses to be a victim of what he believes is to be a money grab. In May 2018, Mr. Brown's accuser invited herself to join Mr. Brown and his friends, who were patrons at a Miami adult entertainment club. After several hours of partying, Mr. Brown and his friends called it a night. Instead of leaving by herself, she arrived, and returning to her hotel, Mr. Brown's accuser solicited Mr. Brown to join and return to Mr. Brown's residence, and the two engaged in consensual sex. Again, Mr. Brown denies all of the accuser's allegations. Signed, Darren Heitner.
Well, I'll see that, and I'll raise you what Jamel Hill just forwarded out. The emails that Antonio Brown allegedly sent to his accuser.
Too. Yeah.
For Jamel Brown to be like, oof. There's more to this than this is gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
This is gonna get ugly. We'll have more on this, and believe it or not, Brandon, O.J. Simpson put out a video to talk about it. Of all people, O.J. Simpson talking about Antonio Brown's situation. You know what? like I said, we're done with the podcast. We wanted to get on there and read that because it's fresh, it's new, and we'll talk more about it next week. The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.